generations. And now, the power of two restores the one.
We got a bidet! Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are covering lots and lots of stuff that was covered this week from MLB the Show 24. We got lots of news kind of early in the week, and then we got even more news. We got actually two feature premieres today, Thursday. So we're going to go ahead and talk about some things, look at some interesting things, and just give some of our thoughts. So let's just dive right in. So earlier in the week, they dropped a bit about this new Road to the Show mode that has women now involved. I think this was called Women Pave Their Way or something like that. It's basically, with the addition of the female player with Diamond Dynasty and storylines, they're also bringing women into Road to the Show, which I think is really cool. I'm looking forward to, not only learning about some of these female players that have played in professional baseball, but I think it's super cool that, the female representation of baseball or softball, whatever you want to call, or whatever you want to talk about, what people have played. It's cool to have people involved in the game. So now, when females go to play MLB the Show, they don't just have to, make a male character when they do their career. They can probably make themselves, just based, I don't know how many customization options there are, but, they can make it look more like them and be more represented. So I think that's really cool. I'm curious to see kind of where this ends up going in the long run, because one, I don't know how many women have been a part of professional baseball. I haven't heard of any really before all these announcements with MLB the Show. So it makes me wonder, is there opportunities for more legends? I know we're getting the one from the Negro Leagues, but are there any others that we might get down the road? That was kind of earlier on in the week what we were getting information about. Today, we got a whole lot of information about the ratings for the live series players. There we go. So what I went ahead and did is I kept track of all of the diamond players. There was more players that were talked about than what's on my list, but I went ahead and I looked at every single diamond player that was discussed and put up on screen. So I'm going to go ahead and show what I found and put together. So here we got all the players from the 99s all the way down to the 86 that qualifies for a diamond. Again, that was showcased. So these are all the live series ratings. So when we go through here, these would be the values on your core cards. They also may change throughout the year. When they do their updates, they do update these card values. And if these players do like something really good during a game or they perform super well, they also do like the supercharged versions of these players. And something that they've changed this year with Diamond Dynasty is every season is going to be separate. So there's a good chance you're going to be using more of these live series cards more often. So they're going to be key to your lineups heading down the road. How does that work? We'll talk about that really quick. Is when you play season one, you won't have any cards, so you'll have what you collect during season one and use all the players that you want. But when you get to season two, you basically start fresh. You can only use season two cards in season two unless you have wilds. And you start with one wild, and I think you can get up to four throughout the experience, the XP path. So when you restart things for season two, you're gonna divert kind of back to a lot of your live series players and then build up your extras as you go throughout those seasons. So these are gonna be super important. So some of these on here that are notable to point out, there are one, two, three, four, five pure 99s here on the list right away. Ronald Acuna Jr., Otani, Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge, and Mike Trout. So we know of those five that will be 99s right out the gate. So if you get those in your MLB The Show packs, you have some awesome luck. I know we'll be opening packs on our channel on day one. I never have that good of luck, so I'm very curious to see how that all ends up. I will point out about this list too is that probably not every single diamond is on the list, and I say that because the Dodgers, for example, they have a ton of good players on their team, but what they were doing throughout the presentation is only doing about five players, like the top five players on each team, unless you were a team that like had almost none. So I can say that from experience because that was the Tigers. So I'll get to that in a minute. So for the Dodgers, there's probably at least, I don't know, three or four players that could have been on a diamond list, but weren't because they weren't just in that, top five. So there could be even more diamonds that will be on day one. So yeah, we looked at the top five. What I was mentioning about the teams. So the Tigers were the first team that I noticed that had this happen. But basically, when I was saying most teams are having five players at a time, the Tigers had like seven up there, and they were like, okay, here's Schoolball at 86. There you go. Be thankful you had one player that made the diamond, and then the rest of the players were silvers or less. And so there's like six others where it's like, you may think that these people are great, but they didn't even crack gold. So players like Kerry Carpenter, um, Riley Green wasn't even on that list of like top seven. So that was very surprising. And Spencer Torkelson, he was barely on that list as well. I'm really hoping some of those players end up getting bumped up throughout the year. Uh, I'm going to try to do my best to, stick with my awesome team of the Tigers to see what I can do this year in MLB The Show, especially since we'll be focusing more on these core cards throughout the year. Let's see. Was there any other like super notable players? Um, the one big takeaway that I took away from all this is I was kind of surprised to see how many diamonds there actually are in live series. There's like 70 something diamond players just on this list. I didn't really think there was that many diamonds for players out there, but you know, things are surprising, and I definitely was. There were a couple of them that I was surprised too. Like in MLB The Show 23, I use uh, De La Cruz from the Reds a lot on my team. I have his 99 card, and I just feel like he's an awesome player. He's got a cannon of an arm. He's got power, but like his live series card is, I think, a 79 or something. So I was a bit surprised on some of these cards for the live series. So we did get a lot of live series information. Most of that presentation was they interviewed different players from those teams and had them guess what they thought their ratings were. And then they just talked about the players for a little bit. Um, the second feature presentation from today was talking about a lot of offline stuff. So franchise, road to the show, and the draft combine thing. So the franchise mode, well, the road to the show mode focused a bit more on the female aspect that they kind of covered earlier in the week. Uh, But the franchise mode, there was something they added in there that I thought was pretty interesting. And that was there. So, like for me, franchise isn't super attractive because I don't want to play every single game, but at the same time, I don't want to, you know, pick and choose the ones I'm going to play. I would rather not simulate a ton of games, but sometimes that's kind of what it comes down to. And what they did is they kind of mixed some of the stuff from March to October with franchise in a way where when you start your franchise, you can make the settings where you kind of tell it, hey, I want to, just play the high stakes moments of my season in franchise, or I want to do the mid level, important situations. Uh, Maybe you only want to play situations that are the seventh inning and later. You can do that too, or that are player specific. So there's a whole bunch of different options that you can go through there and, set up your settings for your franchise, not just March to October, but for franchise, and then go from there. Part of me wonders if that is going to essentially, because I feel like from what I remember when I played March to October, I don't do it very much, is you kind of like play a year and then it like dumps into a franchise, or I can't remember, but it makes me wonder how different it'll feel between the two modes, because I definitely think it's kind of like March to October transitioning into franchise a bit. One of the things I thought was kind of cool that they did mention during the franchise part of it is when you look at your players. So, um, let's say they're looking at Mike Trout. There's going to be a tab on his player card for franchise where you get to see all the awards that he's won. So I think how this is going to work is, obviously he's won awards in the past. Those will be on there. But I think as you play through franchise, if he wins more awards, they'll be put on his card. So I think that's really cool. It's kind of a nice little trivia thing to add on there. If you're looking at your players, you're like, "Whoa, I didn't know that person won that award, let alone in that year," kind of a thing. So I think that's really neat. Let's see. So we covered Road to the Show, Women Pave Their Way. We covered the franchise stuff. And I think that's really about it. The one thing that I thought they were going to talk about, but they didn't, was they didn't talk about really any new legends. At least none that I heard. Because I remember in years past, they would do like, I don't know, 2 or 3 legend reveals as they're doing these feature premieres, but something tells me that's going to come next Thursday when they do their final feature premiere before the game releases for the deluxe editions. So there is one more feature premiere coming next week. I look forward to it a lot because Diamond Dynasty is my favorite, and that's what they I believe they will be covering. They usually save that one for last, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm looking forward to seeing at least one legend that I'm excited about getting. So far, there hasn't been any that have like super excited me. So I'm hoping. So yeah. So that's the end of this video. If you enjoy this type of video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I'm trying to do better with this year's game as far as trying to deliver more news in respect to MLB The Show. Last year, you can check out all the videos if you are having any struggles. I did a lot of videos on the how-tos for the different things that are in Diamond Dynasty, like moments, conquest maps, um, explaining what the different things for the seasons are and how they work. I did all that kind of stuff. So go ahead and check those out. And then, like I said, this year I'm trying to do more, trying to do news. Maybe at the end of the month, maybe I'll say, what was my favorite card of the month, or at the end of the season, what were my favorite season 1 cards that I used, stuff like that. So trying to be a little bit more involved in the MLB The Show community. Drop us a like if you like the video, and drop us a comment letting us know what you're most excited about from this week's news. Are you excited about the Women Pave Their Way and Road to the Show? Are you excited for the changes in franchise? Or are you looking forward to that combine thing? I know we didn't talk about it too much, but it's just basically, get going through the combine. They're making it more true to the actual uh, combine. So, yeah, as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.